Worldly-wiseman, now as Christian was walking by himself, he spotted someone afar off, traveling over the field, and they happened to meet just as they were crossing each other's path. The gentleman's name was Mr. Worldly-wiseman. He dwelt in the town of Carnal-Policy, a very large town close by the city of destruction, from whence Christian came. This man, meeting with Christian, had some knowledge of him, for Christian's leaving the city of destruction was much talked about, not only where he had lived, but also it was the talk of the town in other places. Mr. Worldly-wiseman, therefore, beholding Christian's difficult journey and observing his size and growth and the like, began to enter into conversation with Christian. "Say there, friend, where are you going in this burdened manner?" asked the Worldly-wiseman. "A burdened manner, indeed, I think, as any poor creature ever had," replied the Christian. "And since you asked me where I'm going, I will tell you. Sir, I'm going to yonder narrow gate which is ahead of me. There I am informed I shall be instructed how to be rid of my heavy burden." "Have you your wife and children?" asked the Worldly-wiseman. "Yes," replied Christian, "but I am so weighed down with this burden on my back that I cannot take pleasure in them as I once did. In fact, it is now as though I had no family at all." "If I give you counsel, will you take my advice?" asked Worldly-wiseman. "If it is good counsel, I will," replied Christian, "for I am in need of good advice." "I would advise you then," responded the Worldly-wiseman, "that you rid yourself of that burden on your back as quick as possible, for you can never have happiness or peace of mind until you do." "That's what I'm seeking for," answered Christian. "I desperately want to be rid of this heavy burden, but I cannot get rid of myself, nor is there any man in our country who can remove it from my shoulders. Therefore I am going this way, as I told you, that I may be rid of my burden." "Who told you that this was the way to rid you of your burden?" replied Worldly-wiseman. "A man who appeared to be a very noble and honorable person," answered Christian. "His name, as I remember, is Evangelist." "I curse him for that counsel," snarled Worldly-wiseman. "There is not a more dangerous and troublesome way in all the world. You shall find this out for yourself. If you follow his advice, I see that you have met with trouble already, for I see that the mire from the swamp of despond is upon you. The swamp is just the beginning of the sorrows which attend those who continue in that dangerous way. Listen to me, for I am older than you. On that narrow way you are sure to meet with weariness, pain, hunger, peril, sword, lions, dragons, darkness, and what not. In a word, you will meet with death. These things are certainly true, having been confirmed by many testimonies. And why should you so carelessly cast yourself away by giving heed to a stranger?" "Why, sir," answered Christian, "this burden upon my back is more dreadful to me than all the things which you have mentioned. Indeed, I don't care what danger I meet with along the way, as long as I get deliverance from my burden." "How did you get your burden in the first place?" questioned Worldly-wiseman. "By reading this book in my hand," answered Christian. "I thought so," snapped Worldly-wiseman, "and it has happened unto you as to other wicked men who, meddling with things too high for them, do suddenly fall into the same bewilderment that you now suffer. In this perplexing state they undertake dangerous virtues to obtain they know not what." "I know what I want to obtain," asserted Christian, "ease from my heavy burden." "But why do you seek for ease in this perilous way?" asked the Worldly-wiseman, "seeing that so many dangers attend it. Especially since, had you but sense to listen to me, I could direct you how to obtain what you desire without all these dangers. Yes, and with my remedy you shall gain much safety, friendship, and happiness. Please, sir, reveal their secret to me, begged Christian. Worldly-wiseman began, Why, you are in yonder village named Morality. There dwells a gentleman whose name is Legality. He is a very sensible man, having a good reputation, who has ability to help remove such burdens like yours. Yes, to my knowledge, he has done a great deal of good this way, and besides, he has skill to cure those who are somewhat crazy in their minds because of their burdens. To him you may go and be helped in a very short while. His house is not quite a mile from here, and if he should not be at home himself, his handsome young son, whose name is Civility, can help you as well as the old gentleman himself. There, I say, you may be eased of your heavy burden, and if you do not want to return to the city of construction, and I encourage you to not to return, you may send for your wife and children to join you in this village. In the town of Morality, there are many vacant houses, one of which you may have at a reasonable rate. It is inexpensive to live there, and all the neighbors are honest and fashionable. To be sure, this will make your life more happy. Now Christian was somewhat in a dilemma, but he shortly concluded that if what this gentleman had said was true, then his wisest course was to take the advice of Worldly-wiseman. So Christian inquired, Sir, what is the way to this honest man's house? Do you see yonder hill? Asked Worldly-wiseman. Yes, very well, replied Christian. You must go by that hill directly, Worldly-wiseman, and the first house you come to is his. So I saw in my dream that Christian turned out to the narrow gate to go to Mr. Legality's house for help. But behold, when he got near the hill, it was so high, and it is so hung over him, that Christian was afraid to venture further, lest the hill should fall on his head. Flashes of fire also came out of the hill, which made Christian afraid that he could be burned alive. There he stood still and did not know what to do. His burden now seemed even heavier to him than when he was in the narrow way. He was so frightened that he troubled with fear. He now began to be very sorry that he had taken Worldly-wiseman's counsel. Just then he saw Evangelist coming to meet him, at whose sight he began to blush with shame. So Evangelist drew nearer and nearer, and coming up unto Christian, he gazed upon him with a solemn countenance, and thus began to address Christian. What are you doing here, Christian? Asked Evangelist. Christian did not know what to answer, and stood speechless before him. Then Evangelist continued, Are you not the man that I found weeping outside the city of destruction? Yes, kind sir, I am the man, replied Christian.
And chapter 4, Mr. Worldly-wiseman will continue to the next part 2.